Welcome back to today's chart review. Today is the 4th, and today was actually, I always say it's an interesting day, but today was actually an interesting day. Recently, the market's been doing whatever the market wants to do, and today was a prime example of the market's going to do whatever it wants to do. And as we look, we had a huge sell-off. And as a trader, we can all come into the market and we can say, oh, I could have caught this big move to the downside. I could have caught this big move. But in reality, I highly doubt this doesn't happen every single day. And for you to come in the market and say that, oh, I could have caught this move is just foolish. It's just this type of move does not happen every single day, and it ended up happening today. And we're gonna go in what my bias was going into the day and what actually happened. So kind of going into the day, I had a pretty loose bias. I'm not gonna lie. We were coming up and taking this internal high, and this comes to a point to when NQ can still come up, and I would like NQ to take this high and complete this market maker buy model. All these stack generated highs. I would have liked to see NQ come up and take that high today or tomorrow, but after this big to the move downside, after this big move to the downside, we do not have any interest to go back up here. So we're going to go in that a little bit later, what my bias is. But I was kind of bullish today, but we just swept an internal high, and I was pretty bearish on ES. I was kind of more bullish on on NQ. I wanted the draw to be higher on the higher time frame. But if we're looking at ES, at the time we come up and we take this high pre-market, and I want the draw to be lower, and we'll go into why. So if we look at NQ, we had a seek and destroy model that actually ended up playing out today, and this was kind of my bias. We had seek and destroy. If you guys do not know what that is, it's pretty much when we'll have Asia consolidation followed by a larger London consolidation that takes both the high and low, followed by a higher New York consolidation. And as you guys can see, we ended up taking London high in New York, and then we ended up completely tearing apart and taking this low. So I do not expect this to happen. If you look at your chart at any point and you expect to see something like this, or you try to think that you could have made a lot of money today, that is totally not even a thought in our heads. That's not even a thought. We don't care for that. We cannot catch that consistently. But basically, we had all these stacked lows here, and that we generated in the overnight session, and I really wanted the draw to be lower. And kind of going over today's action and the action we had, I kind of want to replay it. We'll go ahead and replay. And I thought that today's action was decent, but I didn't really love it because on the higher time frame, we kind of play. So pre-market, we kind of have consolidation. I want to see manipulation at these lows to then come up and take these. Because if we look in the AM session, we have these relative equal highs right here. I want these to be the draw. As you can see, we're respecting bullish order flow, bullish order flow. I want the draw to be these highs. We come up and we take them pre-market. I really don't see a trade to target them in the London session, or this isn't London, but in the pre-market session. I really did not see a trade. Ideally, I would like to see like some form of manipulation at the low, so then go higher, but that never ended up happening. Was there any form of SMT? Did we have any type of SMT in the morning? I don't think we did, because I probably would have. No, we did not. So we kind of end up ripping here. There's nothing here. When the market has a straight up move, I need to wait. So at the time market opens, where's market open? In like 30 minutes. So market opens around here. And so at this time, I need to see a lot more structured about anything. We just had a big move to the upside, and I want to let market open. As you can see, we have a big imbalance. If we zoom out to the hourly, we're about to probably create an hourly imbalance. We've now took an internal liquidity on the higher time frame. Internal liquidity, an external low would be this low. This is an internal high. An external high would be this high. And I guess you could count this as the main external high, but I would count this as the external high. So if we look, I'm waiting. I'm patient on ES. We actually have took. It looks a lot better because we're back within that imbalance as well. This 1 hour imbalance. So let's kind of see what type of action we had if there's a possibility to take anything. So I'm letting market play out. I kind of want to see. See what happens. As you can see, we put in a high, and right here we actually end up forming a little SMT, and I don't like this SMT. I don't like. So I ended up taking a trade here. I'm not gonna really go over it too much because it was an okay trade. I ended up getting stopped out at break even. But if you look at this manipulation move, it lines up perfectly with all these stacked lows. This is why I liked it as well. It lines up perfectly with these stacked lows. Come up, and I just want to see us. I want to see us respect this. If I'm bearish, I want to see us respect this. I think it's a little bit too early to take a short just because we haven't shown that we want to go lower. But we put in a high. We have a little SMT, and the standard deviation does line up with all of these stacked lows. Ideally, you want -2 to 2.5 on the standard deviation to line up with the lows, and then ideally you would like to see -4 line up with another sell side level, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to. So as you can see, we're now respecting a bearish fair value gap. I'm waiting. I'm not liking anything, and boom. Now this is when we get displacement through a low. A short here would not be bad, and this is kind of the trade that I ended up taking. I ended up taking a short here. And since we had the seek and destroy model, I wanted to see London lows really be the target. As we can see, this kind of looks like a market maker model. We have London lows all the way down here, but my main target is all these stacked lows lining up with standard deviation. How do I turn this off? Okay. So I think a short here is good, but taking a short here to go all the way to London lows, I feel like is too ambitious of a move. And I think that for low-hanging fruit, I should have targeted the -1 standard deviation. Or this 15-minute imbalance also would have been a good trade. So putting your stop at the previous wick high, taking a fair value gap here after we have displacement through a low, we have a little SMT just to rebalance price. And let's see what happens. We end up respecting this. And price eventually ends up selling off to that 15-minute imbalance. Boom. We hit that perfectly. That would have been a decent trade. So at the time, this was a decent internal model. When I say internal, I'm looking at like the lower time frames. So on the higher time frame, right now I'd be kind of a little bit bearish. I want to see us head to that 15-minute imbalance. I think that's the next draw. At the time, we had a SMT here. I think around here, it's very zoomed in. But this in itself is a market maker model on the lower time frame. Notice how we have all these generated lows. We have a generated low, generated low, generated low, generated low, generated low. We form an SMT. We create an imbalance. Taking this imbalance to this low would have been a very, very confident scalp in my opinion. But this is pretty scalpy. But this would have been a pretty good trade that I saw in my opinion. So at this time, if we zoom out, we are now rebalancing to an hourly imbalance. We have taken buy side, so any shot at a long I think is a little bit lower probability. But on the external time frame, on the higher time frame, I could see the draw is probably likely going to be this high. So if we zoom out to the 15-minute, we come down, we have rebalanced price to this fair value gap. And where do you think as well we rebalance to? Where do you think we rebalance to? We rebalance straight into OTE of this range. And if we look at ES at the time, this could have been a decent long setup, which I say decent. The only reason why this isn't very high quality is because we have just taken buy side on the higher time frame. So a move to go back higher is a little bit lower quality. We're also within that 1 hour imbalance on ES. So it's not terrible, but I just wasn't very bullish biased because of that reason. If we look on ES at the time, NQ rebalances to this fair value gap right here. As we can see, this fair value gap we have here. NQ ends up rebalancing price to this fair value gap. ES does not. What does this now become? This now becomes an SMT fair value gap. An SMT fair value gap, I've talked about this before, but we have an SMT fair value gap now. This could have been a little added confluence. We have an SMT fair value gap. We have took an internal liquidity. We have swept internal liquidity here. And now I am waiting. I'm waiting. We're now within a 15-minute imbalance. I'm not expecting us to bounce, but I'm looking at seeing what price is doing. And notice all the highs that we have put in here. We have all of these generated buys and all this generated buy side. Notice we have a high, never gets taken. We have a high, never gets taken. We have a high, never gets taken. You guys kind of get what I'm saying. But look at all these generated buy, all this generated buy side that we have. So I'm waiting. We have swept internal. We're back within that 15-minute imbalance. This is then when I'm waiting. I am ideally looking at this fair value gap right here. I want to see if this gets ran to the upside. Waiting. We then come up and we run this fair value gap. And now we create a fair value gap of our own. We run this. This wouldn't be necessarily a bad entry. We also have equal highs above us. But I just think it's a little bit lower quality because of the higher time frame. We have now just swept internal liquidity. But on the higher time frame, I'm still pretty bullish. I'm still kind of bullish. So I would not be opposed to a long here. This is kind of the long that I saw. I never took it because I was actually in a short position at this time that I ended up taking off at stop at break even. But putting your stop at the recent wick low, maybe putting it down here, giving it some more room. I would personally look to put my stop at this low. We end up coming in that fair value gap, and then we just end up ripping to the upside. This ends up playing out very nice. And I was looking for a potential for us to potentially return to this breaker. As we can see on the 2 minute, 1 minute, we have this breaker here that I want to see price come back to. Price never rebalanced back to the breaker. This would have been a breaker fair value gap right here. This could have been a good entry, but it just ends up running without you. And we just end up running price to the upside. And I don't see another re-entry that you could have. I wouldn't feel comfortable taking it all the way to this high. The only thing that I think was higher quality was just taking a long to this internal buy side to these equal highs. We don't need, as a trader, I don't need a trade all the way up to here. This is then when I can let my runners run, but I only need this high consistently to become profitable. And this was a decent long, but it's just a little bit lower quality because we have swept buy side on the higher time frame. But overall, we've been very bullish recently. The S&T fair value gap was another conviction that you could have had on your trade. And now let's see what happens to price. Now let's see what happens. We come up. I'm expecting the draw to be this high. ES has taken this high. So now we are forming an SMT. So I no longer am looking at this to be the draw. I'm no longer looking at this to be the draw. This high does not need to be the draw. Why is that? Because ES has taken the high. So we don't need to come back up to this high. This no longer becomes the draw because we have an SMT. We now get some bearish imbalances here. I'm not looking for anything. Now we respect these. Now we create another bearish imbalance. And then we just end up selling off. I don't think that there was a great entry here, and I don't think that there was. As you can see, we had an SMT at highs, and we still have these London lows down here, which could have been some conviction to it. But I don't coming to the market. I don't think any of us expect to sell off this hard. We kind of have a nice 2 minute order block that we respect very nice, and then this would be classified as a propulsion block, I believe. This is a propulsion block right here, but we end up respecting the order block, and then we end up respecting a propulsion block. I don't really see or love an entry here as well. I don't really see an entry. We just end up selling off for the rest of the day. I was looking at a possibility to go short here. I wanted to see the 2 minute order block or propulsion block get respected. I think it was this one. Yeah, this one. I really no, it was this one. It was this. I wanted to see this get respected. We end up respecting this, and then we just end up selling off. Again, I don't think that anything was high quality. But if we drop down to the 1 minute, maybe potentially taking a short up here, wouldn't be bad targeting equilibrium. But I just don't have the conviction to take something like this. But did y'all look to take a short here? Let me know. Maybe a stop at this high, a stop at this high, just targeting equilibrium of this range or something like that would have been a decent trade. But I really wasn't looking to take this. I was kind of just seeing what price was going to do. And then obviously price ended up selling off. So I don't care to catch any of this. I don't care that I missed out potentially on a move like this. I don't care. That's not even in my mind. That's not even in my mind. And as you can see now, what price is doing currently, we just had this massive sell off. We had this massive sell off after taking internal liquidity. And I want to look at some higher time frames on ES. This was the higher time frame turtle soup. We come up, we take internal liquidity to target external liquidity. And if we are looking at the 4 hour right now on ES, what does this look like? What does this look like? We now have displacement through lows. We have come down. We have an SMT. We have took internal liquidity. If you were to show me this on any time frame, on any pair, on any indice, on anything, I would be pretty bearish. We have now come up. We have taken internal liquidity. Huge sell-off. Huge sell-off. We have now have breaker. We now have a breaker. I wouldn't classify this as a breaker. The breaker isn't very clear. Breaker isn't very clean. But now we have all of this generated sell side that I could see us coming to in the next week. Or maybe not even the next week, but the next upcoming days. And if we're looking at the daily candles, we have now broken through lows. And this looks very bearish. This is looking like we can start something. This is looking like we can start something. If we're looking at the weekly candle as well, I would expect the draw to be these lows down here and then possibly targeting equilibrium of this range, something like that. But I think that very soon here, this is starting to look like we could do something here. Again, I have to see the market tell me what it wants to do, but after seeing this big sell-off, I don't think there's any reason to say, hey, we're going to come back and we're going to take these highs up here. No, the market's showing us that we want to go lower, in my opinion. In my opinion, we do have these stacked highs up here, but that does not mean anything. We have an S&P at highs, and we now have displacement through lows. Through lows. So I want this to be bearish now. My draw going into tomorrow is going to be these lows down here. Tomorrow is NFP. Tomorrow is NFP. So I will not be trading on the live account. I will not be trading on the live account. And I don't think that it would be a good habit to trade on the live account. I'm going to trade on demo tomorrow. Tomorrow's NFP. I don't have too much experience with trading NFP or looking at NFP or looking to trade NFP. So therefore, I will not be trading on the live account. If something perhaps does look crystal clear, I might consider taking one micro on the Top Step account. But overall, I have to see something very clear in order for me to take it on the live account. As you can see, we just had a huge sell-off. Huge sell-off. I think they discussed like rate cuts or something. I'm not very 100% sure. I didn't really look too much into it. But while I was at the gym, they show like the CNBC and they were talking about potential like rate cuts. That's what was on like as a headline. Should a YOLO puts? Yeah, could you imagine? Could you imagine? Obviously, I don't care. I don't care to catch any of this. I don't need this move. But the market just sold. Let's see. We just had a 400-point move. We just had a 400-point move. Anytime we have a big move in the market, what can I expect or what am I looking for tomorrow? I am looking to see structure being put in to validate another move lower. A structure put in to validate another move lower. If so happens in the overnight session, we come down and we take this low, I don't even know if I'll go live tomorrow, but it all depends. I don't think it's even worth it, just NFP, and we just sold off 400 points. But be cautious going into tomorrow. Notice the conditions that we've been having. We just recently, the price action that we've had recently, today was decent action. I did like the action we had today. Today was decent. But after we just had a huge sell-off, we are likely going to consolidate for at least some bit on the internal timeframes. I will like to see, are we going to take this low coming into tomorrow? Obviously, we have a huge imbalance. If we zoom out to the 4 hour, this is just one big 4 hour imbalance that will likely get formed. And I think that we could rebalance to equilibrium of this range, but I honestly don't think that we will at all. We kind of do have this breaker here that we could see a possible return into on NQ. But I wouldn't be surprised if we just end up selling off to these lows here after this big displacement move through a low. I need to see a lot more structure, and I can guarantee you tomorrow, NFP, I would not be risk on tomorrow. Tomorrow should be a risk off event, and tomorrow I'm going to be risk off. I'm going to be risk off tomorrow. I'm not going to risk anything. It's not worth it in my opinion. So risk off tomorrow. Going to let the market do what it wants to do, and I know that there's always going to be another day in the market. Like the conditions that we've been having recently have not been ideal, and this past week, for you to come in the market or for me to come in the market and to look to try to trade this just doesn't look very clear. It has been really 20 days. 20 days of not so good action. Like, yes, you could possibly find trades within here, but we kind of look like we take a low, then we pump, and then we look like we could come down, we generate more liquidity, and then we come up, we take a high. And then all of this, I'm looking, oh, we could take this high, we don't. Then we come down, we take a low, we could take a high, we don't. And then we come down, we take a low, we displace through the low, and I'm thinking that we could possibly return to these lows. Then what we do, we come up, we pump, we take highs, then we sell off. So this is now starting to look like it could clean up a little bit, but these last days that we have had has not been ideal and has not been the greatest action that I've seen. So with that being said, stay disciplined and stick to what you are doing. Don't be discouraged by what other people are telling you or by what other people are saying about you. Come to the market, and my main focus is to become better and to build conviction and to stick to my rules and to become disciplined. Those are my rules, and that is how I will become profitable. I don't care about trying to look good. I don't care about coming on here and trying to look good. At the end of the day, I'm here and I will make mistakes. I will mess up. I will take losses. I will take trades that I probably shouldn't have taken in the first place. But I'm not going to come on here, and I will never lie to you guys about a trade that I take. I will never lie and say that I took a trade that I didn't take, or I took something that I didn't have confidence in. Because that's not who I am. Because that's not how you grow as a trader. If you go on social media and compare your results to everyone else's constantly, you're not going to become a better trader. I would not recommend, like I've been saying, I would not recommend going on social media if you're serious about this. I mean, it is cool to learn from other people, but you gotta sit there and ask yourself, is this really benefit me, or is this creating false expectations? Like, yeah, we're in a Discord and we have like-minded individuals, but you should really be putting this effort into, and you should just be focusing on becoming better. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Don't worry about the trades that anyone else is putting on, because at the end of the day, who is going to press buy or sell? It's going to be you. It's not going to be someone else whispering in your ear or telling you to buy or sell when they don't even know what they're doing. They don't even have conviction with it. So why would you listen to other people? This is a game to build conviction yourself. No one else is going to come into this game, and no one else is going to put in the work for you. No one else is going to put in the repetitions for you. Same thing with trading and within life. No one is going to do the work for you. No one is going to do the runs for you. No one is going to put in the screen time for you. No one is going to do chart annotations for you. No one else is going to see it happen over and over and over again for you. You have to do it yourself. So stop thinking that you have to be on other people's levels, or you have to be taking trades that other people are doing. It's your own journey. You're at your own pace. Do not rush it. I started a Top Step Combine, but I honestly do not like funded accounts because they push a narrative on trying to get funded. There's a thing for Apex that's like a 1 day pass, and I'm not a fan of that because it just puts the thing of trying to make money or trying to get funded. And I can guarantee you a lot of people come to that Apex account and they just lose their funded account after passing over one day because they don't have conviction in themselves. Like this will take time, and don't get discouraged, or at least this I'm kind of talking to myself right now. Sorry, I'm kind of talking to myself right now, and hopefully we can look back onto this video in the future and we can all just be like, wow, he's kind of grown. And that's the vision with these sessions, to where we can look back on, or not necessarily look back on, or we can reflect. We have the benefit of looking back on everything that happened in price. On everything that happened in price today. We get to see what really happened today. What really happened. Okay, what really happened today? We took a high, we come up, we rebalance the OTE of this range to then come back into this fair value gap, to then have a market maker buy model on the lower time frame, to then come back, form an SMT, to then just sell. We take London lows, we break through London lows. We have if we look on the higher time frame, such as the 1 hour, we now have a breaker here. We now have a breaker for a value gap. We have a huge push to the downside. I could expect to see us sell off in the future. This is looking like we are ready to sell here. What am I looking for to possibly return into? I could see this breaker. I want to see this breaker, us kind of come back up, work our way up into this breaker before then selling off. But the market's going to do what it wants to do. We could just end up taking this low tomorrow. Tomorrow's NFP. I would not be risk on tomorrow. Notice the conditions that you're having. The most important part about trading is recognizing the conditions, and most importantly, doing something about them. Doing something about the conditions that we are having. Say you know that we're in bad conditions. Just don't trade. Just don't trade it. Or if you are gonna look to trade it on a demo account, or trade it, or don't come to the market and don't look to take trades that you know that you're gonna regret. We're here to build habits. We're here to become better traders, not to try and make money. I am not focused on making money. I'm here to build that conviction with myself, and that's what I think separates this server and this channel apart from other channels out there, because I don't care how much money someone makes. I simply don't. Same with anything in life. If you're focused on making money, if you're focusing on building money, constantly the results, you're likely not going to become that successful, because you're constantly monitoring the results that you're having. Money does not mean anything. I used to come in the market and I used to base my whole mood based on my P&L. Like I would be in tears after a losing day, and after me over risking, over leveraging, because I was focusing way too much on the money and on the money side of things. But if we come in the market and we focus on becoming better traders rather than the money. So many people, especially on social media, you'll see this on social media everywhere. They post the amount of money that they made. I don't care how much money you made. I don't, because you can lie about that. Anyone can. The thing that I care about is, did you have confidence within your setup, and did you create good habits? Did you feel good about that loss that you take, or did you take that loss, or was that a bad loss? Because I've come to the market and I've made money off of things that I shouldn't have been taking in the first place. I would buy like Nvidia calls or Nvidia puts when I didn't even know why I was even in the trade. I bought it off of intuition and I ended up making money. And I remember I had this one trade that I made $300 off of. That I ended up pretty much like full porting my account. And I was like, I made $300 on this trade. I won, but I feel awful about this. And that's what will just eat away at your gains, and will eat away at your journey. If you just come in the market with the money making mentality, you're pushing yourself back. People can look at me as a trader and be like, oh, this guy's trading on demo today, or this guy's on a top sub eval, this guy's not even, he's risking 1 micro. I don't care, because what's gonna put me, I don't care about comparing myself to other traders. I'll say that first. But what's going to put me and you light years ahead of these other traders is the fact that we come in the market every single day and we do not care about our P&L at the end of the day. We don't care if we are green or red. Did we stick to our rules? Did we become better? Did we improve outside of the markets as well? Are we growing, or are we pushing ourselves back? Because if you're not growing, especially in as competitive of a market as trading is, you guys see, like, trading is such a popular niche now because everyone wants to make money. And I can tell you that there are a lot of traders coming in here that may think that they know what they're doing, but they don't, because they're just trying to make money. They want to make money. And I am not here. I do not want to have a. I want to build a good foundation, especially with this server, And I'm not gonna lie, when people post their P&L, or when people post that they're getting funded or that they got funded, part of me like does not care about that at all. But part of me is also like, yo, good job. But I think that with this server, obviously people might post their P&L, but you are damn near never going to see someone post like a $2,000 loss, or say, hey, I made this loss. I just had a big loss today. I broke my rules. You won't really see people post about that. They'll post about the good things. And I care more about like the trade that you took rather than how much money you made. And I might just like come out off the bat hard with that and say like, no posting your P&L. But I don't know. I'll let it, like, if people post their P&L or people post that they got funded, that's cool. I really like that. I'm proud of you. But if you were focusing on that you got funded, you should not be satisfied. You got funded, you passed the eval. Brother, that does not mean anything. Okay? You won a game of basketball or you won a game of soccer? That doesn't mean anything. You won game 1 of the NBA Finals? That doesn't mean anything. You just passed your eval? That does not mean anything. It proves to me, if you guys post your P&L or you guys post like the trade that you took, oh, I called this move. Bro. You should not care. I don't care. You call the move. Okay, cool. Are you doing that consistently? Because that's just creating bad habits. I used to try to call moves, and then once I like called those moves, I used to feel so good about it. I don't care about the money either. It's a skill set for me, 100%. Focus on the skill set. Trading is a skill set. Trading is a skill set that you're sharpening over time. And I disrespected trading, and I didn't think that it was a skill set. So therefore, I lost money, and I ended up focusing on the wrong things, on the wrong habits, and that's why I've lost $12,000, $10,000 trading, because I was focusing on the wrong things. Yeah, doesn't mean you're dunking on LeBron, for sure. But that's pretty much all I have for tonight's session. Obviously, I know these sessions will become better in the future because I'm going to become a better trader, and I have belief in this. I want these trading sessions to be a lot more interactive in the future. But for now, this is what we have. You got to start somewhere. With anything that you do in life, you got to start somewhere. You don't climb a mountain. You don't start at the peak. And especially a lot of people in life, or at least me, I used to think that I would start at the peak. But bro, you always got to start somewhere. Like I haven't lost 25 pounds in 3 months, or I haven't lost 20 pounds in 3 months by trying to start at the top. You got to start somewhere. You got to slowly ramp that up until you become great. Because that's how you'll become a better trader. That's how I will become a better trader, by slowly exposing it. I don't care about passing a fund. I don't care about making $10,000 by next week, by next year. I don't. I'm focusing on becoming a better trader. If that means me being risk off, me potentially just trading on a demo account or like a top step eval, I will completely do that. Been reducing risk after being humbled by this market, especially recently. I would recommend being a little bit risk off. But here soon, I think we will get a lot more opportunity. And this just move that we just had is a very nice to see as a trader, or as me and how I trade personally. This does look like it could be a good move coming into the next upcoming weeks. Hey bro, next time minimize your account number at the bottom. Oh. I think it's chill. But yeah. Yeah, I leak so much, y'all. If you guys go to my live streams, bro, I leak so much. I'm not proud of it. I don't know if that really does. How do I hide it? I don't know how to hide it. I'll show you how to do it. I bet. How do I? Oh, just that button? Yeah, okay. I will in the future. But it's already leaked out there, so it'll probably get spread. But I don't think it's really anything. I have like two-factor authentication, so I think I'm chilling. But anyways, that's all I have for tonight's session. Um, we'll probably do a session Saturdays. I don't know if I'll do them Fridays, just because I usually have plans on Friday nights. I'm not gonna lie, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll probably do them Saturdays, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So like 5 days a week. But I would like to do backtesting sessions, but I don't love backtesting. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, tonight was a good session, and I'll